You can tell people are zombies because of the line of bullshit that they're fed by the media. This video here says windmills, or it says wind farms or wind turbines kill eagles, so that makes them bad. So wind energy or wind turbines or green energy is really bad because it's killing eagles too. Listen.
Golden eagles are majestic birds protected by our federal government, so even tampering with their nest is a criminal offense. So what's killing these animals? Well, as it turns out, the culprit is wind turbines. Golden eagles are not considered to be under threat, but scientists are worried about a recent increase in the number of them killed by this renewable energy source. Eagles in flight tend to focus on the ground below as they look for prey, unaware of the fast-spinning blades in their path until it's too late. Precise figures are impossible, but a Wildlife Society bulletin estimated 573,000 birds were killed by the country's wind farms each year, including 83,000 hunting birds like the eagle. But so far, the companies operating industrial-sized turbines that are killing eagles and other protected birds have yet to be fined or prosecuted, even though every death is a criminal violation.
So, zombies get away with anything. But if you did that, you would be charged. If you had a turbine on your land and it killed an eagle and they found out, yeah, you're going to jail. But if they do it, they're not going to charge themselves. They're going to go, oh, well, we're the one that charges you, so why do we care? You know, you can do citizen citations. Did you know that? But there's a double helix DNA shaped prop that is much smaller and it works in lower wind conditions, and instead of having blades like really long, it's a double helix shape, so they're a lot smaller, and so it'd be harder. It'd just basically be like a pole. Actually, there's this secret type technology where there's just a pole, and the pole spins, and that's the blade. The blade is just a pole with nothing on it, and it's I'm glad I remembered, because this is a really good technology that I need to remember. What is it called? Just something like let's see. I'm gonna find it. Sorry, I gotta find this. What the fuck? It's weird. Here it is. John Latham. Okay, not only does he talk about he shows you a secret wind turbine technology, then he talks about cloud seeding with that technology. So it's like even the picture is like super futuristic. And it's like you look at this sailboat and it's cloud seeding and the turbines on it, and the turbines are just like a pole, and that's it. There's no even blade. But what happens is the pole is spinning, and it's actually more powerful than a blade, and it's some kind of technology. I don't know. I'm trying to find the name of the technology. It's funny, like, people are so dumb. They're like, ooh, and you can just see the, like, the diseugenics fucking just zombie look in their face, and it's just, like, for me, it's just so easy to tell, like, that they're fucking lemming zombies. And for everyone else, they don't have any idea. It's, like, incredibly fucking hilarious, dude. Like, knowing that people are too stupid to understand cloud seeding, and they're like, oh, it hurt my brain. And you're like, and people say you're not a zombie, like, whatever, dude. it makes sense if, like, you can never think ever. It makes sense that they're like that. You would think somebody would finally be able to think at some point. That's why I think I'm better, because I finally got to the point where I couldn't think. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Alright, now listen to this one. I finally found it. This is good. This is a really good video.
To imagine the shape of a ball.
Yes, I like this.
A sunshade isn't the
I actually use this. I used to use this to describe how Enough Respect was like wrong and right at different times. Like I might agree with them on some things and then disagree with them. But they say the turbines kill eagles, so that makes wind energy bad. But what they don't understand is there's a technology that uses a bladeless turbine that's like 10 times more efficient, and it's really odd. But when they talk about how it spins, it's just like this weird like tube, and the whole thing is just a pipe. It's like if you took a wind turbine and took the propeller off, and then you got more power, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. It's not the same way. The tube spins, so it's just like a pole up in the air, and it spins, and it actually is like 10 times more powerful. And what happens is the wind spins the tube in a certain way. I'm not exactly sure. I've tried to do a lot of research on it, and I found a little bit of information. And the tube spins though, and so the wind like hits the tube, it spins, and the spinning kind of like makes more wind or something. It like creates a vortex inside of the tube, which like creates a more circular motion, and it's got screens where it would like suck in or take out the air. There's screens in it so it don't suck in birds and stuff, and it was just like the most technological kick-ass thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, wow, here's genius. And they make a video. There's 76,000 views on just this one. Well, let's listen to this video. I really like it.
Like the sun's rays and reduce global temperatures. A second team at the NASA gathering are wondering if clouds could do the same job. If only we could find a way to make them more reflective.
This is where they play a song. So the song is for a little while, but it's like the intro, so just wait a second. I'll skip that.
System, cooling the city by filtering the hot sun.
San Francisco.
Good morning, San Francisco. Good morning, Bay Area. This is 104.5 KFOG, San Francisco, the Bay Area's K-Fog, and you're waking up to another typical foggy morning here in San Francisco in the Bay Area.
Engineer Stephen Salter and atmospheric physicist John Latham think they could protect the Earth from further warming in the same way that fog protects San Francisco from the sun. They're on their way to search for clouds of a particular type, ones that are shiny and bounce the sun's rays back into space.
So we're flying now over the tops of the clouds of interest to us, the so-called marine straticumulus clouds. They're probably a few hundred meters thick, and we can see how shiny they are, and that's telling us that they deflect solar radiation into space.
What John Latham and Stephen Salter propose to do is use a fleet of futuristic cloud-seeding yachts, which atomize seawater and then spray this fine vapor into the clouds, making them denser and more reflective.
If we can see the clouds on a global scale, the effect can be a major cooling that could compensate for global warming.
Climate change and rising sea levels pose a huge threat. But could the oceans also provide a clue to a possible solution? John Latham spent his life with his head in the clouds, literally. As an atmospheric physicist, he understands how clouds form, but it was the way that breaking waves behave that gave him the inspiration for his big idea.
So they would only use a propless super wind turbine to cloud seed. So it seems like they're really interested in cloud seeding. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. That they would only implement a propless turbine to spit a bunch of salt water into the atmosphere. It sounds very futuristic and dystopian, weird. Geoforming a planet. The dude looks like an alien. Like his eyes are like every vein, and it looks like his eyes are bleeding. That's what it looks like. It looks like his eyes are bleeding. And he's like, I don't want to geoengineer this planet. And it's like, he's like a fucking alien or something, man. His eyes are bleeding. Bleeding. Like, oh, I'm a zombie, my eyes are bleeding. Like, that's like the essence of a fucking zombie. He's like he's using his zombie, bloodshot, beady eyes to blood. Like, it looks like blood is dripping out of his eyes. It's like, I know people just think I got bloodshot eyes. Fuck, it's like, this guy looks like his eyes are bleeding. World of difference there. And he's like looking at the planet with his bloody eyes, and he's like, I want to geoengineer it. For what? To make it hotter? Maybe that's what they want. They want to make it hotter. They're like, how can we make it hotter? They just look like they're fucking evil, man.
Is the process of wave breaking, the normal beautiful swoop and dive, which actually pushes on.
It's like, okay, so he's saying he understands there's a technology with waves, and it pushes salt water up into the air. So he says, okay, maybe we can just make these salt water spewing things that spray salt water up in the air and make it like cloudy. And it's like, so how do you get that from looking at waves? And then propless. And then how do you go from waves to spitting shit up in the air to saying, oh, here's this new invention called a propless thing that's 10 times more efficient. So it's like all this technology that this guy says is in geoengineering. It's like, wow, there's a lot of technology involved in geoengineering. Propless wind turbines that are 10 times more efficient, that are like, what the fuck? You know? Invented like in the when they actually still use sails on sailboats. It was to replace a sail. It's like it's a rotating thing, and instead of having a big sail, you got this tube just sticking out of your ship, and it's 10 times more effective than a sailboat or whatever. That's what it really was. Let me look that up, because that's actually, I think that's why he would use it on a sailboat. But you can use it on a wind turbine too. The inventor was a sailboat designer. You can sail against the wind with these. Yeah, this design was made by a sailboat designer, and he made it, and after they made it, they discovered they could sail upwind, straight into the wind, up the wind, using the wind power to go against the wind. And they said that goes against the laws of physics. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter if the boat is going against laws. There's the boat. It's going up the stream. You say it's against the laws of physics. We say there's the boat. It's going upstream. It's powered by the wind. And they're like, how? The scientists are like, no, that's perpetual motion. They're like, no, there's no perpetual motion here. It works. Are you trying to say this thing that exists is fake? And they're like, well, we don't know. Whatever. And it's like, he became a flop because he was way too smart for himself. And that's just how shit is when you live in a world full of retards. What is this thing called? Oh, that's how you know something is really secret, is when you can't seem to find it. And you're looking, and you can't find it. That's how you know you found the secret. It's a little bit known. You might find it someday, but no one really knows about it. And when you do find it, and they're like, well, it's kind of like perpetual motion, but it's not. It's just wind. And then you learn the technology, you're like, wow. Wow, that's really cool. No wonder he never made it. People would rather still use sailboats. And the people that do learn, they have it. And they're happy. They're like, wow, I can sail around. And I don't have to be a genius sailor and tie knots to do it. I can just have this magic sail. It's not magic. I guess that's magic. It's magic. I will keep looking. Ooh, what is this? Yeah, that's how you know you're on to something. When you know it exists, but you can't find it. Or, when you do find it, there's a band called its name. And then when you look it up, all you can find is that band. And maybe one little thing about what you are looking for. That's called censoring. Ooh, that looks like it's it. Magnus. Oh yes, that's what it is. Marples. Yes. John Marples? No. Flettner rotor. Yes. It's called a Flettner rotor. I found it. That's exactly what it's called. The Flettner rotor. Genius. I didn't invent it. But see, look. Okay. They're complaining that eagles die. What's the answer? What could you go to the windmill companies with and say, hey, I have a proposal for you. You could stop killing eagles by using a Flettner rotor, and you will produce 10 times more energy, and you'll never kill an eagle again. They'd be like, what's the downside to this? There is none. What's the upside to this? There is tons. Does it cost more? No, it's probably cheaper. This is making too much sense. Like, zombies are not allowed to make sense. Flettner rotor. I found it. I'm gonna have to save this somehow. Flettner rotor. See, I like this. This is like stimulation. A Flettner rotor bomblet. A Flettner was a used biological submunition that was never mass produced. The Magnus effect, which is an aerodynamic it's aerodynamic dissemination type technology. This is the biological. This also is the technology they use in cloud seeding because of the vortex could shoot the shit up in the atmosphere that was created in the Flettner rotor. So they would use it for biological warfare because it would disperse the aerosol. They would spray the aerosol in the Flettner rotors, and it would fucking like just the whole, like it would, the vortexes would evenly distribute the particulates of dust evenly everywhere. So you were inhaling like dust all the time, and that's why they want to spray it up in the atmosphere. When that's exactly the chemtrailing that they're doing. They have Flettner rotors on the planes where they inject the viruses and different things, and they spray it out, the viruses, on people, and the viruses are like sea monkeys. They can be dry in the air, and then as soon as the moisture, like they hit you or you breathe them in your lungs, they activate, and they don't kill you, they reprogram your brain, and they genetically modify you. It's called gene therapy. It's called gene therapy. So this has a lot to do with a lot of stuff, and I'm happy I looked, because it just, the technology that they show, it just leads on this technological thing, the Flettner rotor bomblet. Yeah, it was made for biological weapons because it dispersed the gas so evenly, and that's why they want to use it for cloud seeding, because it would disperse their chemical up in the air so evenly, and it stays there. Like the way it spins it keeps it up there, like it, almost like it charges it up there or something. That's why it's cool to look up the Flettner rotor, because there could be a whole lot involved with it. Like, it may even actually extend to the Nazis and Flettner rotor powered aircraft that are UFOs. The UFOs could be a Flettner rotor flying around. The whole thing's a Flettner rotor flying around, which all came back to sailboats. But that's why this technology is all secret. It's not secret, but it took me an hour to find it. Like, who's gonna do that? What zombie in a fucking dyslexic coma is gonna fucking do that? None. Why they kill Igor for? What we gonna do? Well, once upon a time, there were some smart people that invented a Flettner rotor. Get a Flettner rotor and just spray a little bit of salt water in it, and you'll be doing what they wanted. You'll be cloud seeding on accident. So this thing, okay, so if you got a Flettner powered boat and just drove it around, you would be reversing global warming. So how many shipbuilders are going to build a ship that stops global warming? Okay, you would think everybody would have jumped on this and said, holy fuck, we just invented a car, a boat, or something that stops global warming. You could stick this in your yard, you could put it in your driveway, you could drive it down the road, you could, hey look, I'm in a yacht and I'm actually fixing the environment, woohoo. You don't think people would fucking be on that? Dude, no wonder it's fucking censored. Dude, people are zombies. It's like time to wake up. That's why they censor me, because they know I'm going to wake you up. That's hilarious. You know, to think of the money they invest in silencing me. They have to pay like millions and millions of dollars. And it really works. When you put money... If you're like, I'll pay you 50 grand to censor this guy. 50 grand? To censor him? Yes. Brain too big. Need to silence that. How about a stack? Okay, I'll take that stack. Don't worry, you won't hear from him again. It's like, you know, I don't know how good it would work. Like, how good would a Flettner rotor work? The Flettner rotor violates the laws of physics. Let's see, what does it do? Alright, they're like, you take off the sail, and then you put up these things. It's showing how they do it. Like, how they're like, they take the sails off the boat, then they put the Flettner rotor on. I'm so happy. Like, this is awesome. This is the shit I used to do. Like, that's how I know a lot of this stuff. It's nice to bring it back up, because it really seems all like, oh, eagles kill, or windmills kill eagles? We're lemmings. It's like, don't worry, I'll fix that. Flettner rotor. I'm a lemming. Obama. Oh, it's in German. Let's translate it. It reminds me, it says pivot and plivin, and it reminds me of the coward and plivin strategy. It's been a talk from Obamacare. Yes. this is what Obamacare is. The Cloward and Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven, that called for the overloading of the U.S. public welfare system in order to precipitate a crisis that would lead to a replacement of the welfare system with a national system of a guaranteed annual income, and thus an end to poverty. Cloward and Piven were a married couple who were both professors at the Columbia University School of Social Work. The strategy was formulated in May 1966 article in liberal magazine The National titled "The Weight of the Poor, a Strategy to End Poverty." The two stated that many Americans who were eligible for welfare were not receiving benefits, and that a welfare enrollment drive would strain local budgets, precipitating a crisis at the state and local levels that would be a wake-up call for the federal government, particularly a Democratic Party. There would also be side consequences of the strategy according. These would include easiness, plight of the poor, that would be poor for a while, okay, a guaranteed annual income. What does that mean? Social minimum in red. We'll look that up too. Oh, that means there's nothing for it. Okay. Now, a lot of this sounds normal. Like we're already living under that. Not that it's good. It sounds like what we're already living under, which reminds me, like, it's like the taste of some poisons is sweet. Or no, the natural flavor of there's a scent gland in beavers, and they use that as the natural vanilla flavor and vanilla flavored stuff, and also raspberry. So raspberry flavor is actually like the piss scent of a beaver. And so it's not, there's no taste actually. Like, your taste buds don't have, with that particular thing, it's all smell. So when you drink the raspberry flavor, you think it tastes like raspberries, but really it's the overwhelming smell. The smell makes it have any taste. So it's like, that's why you have like sweet and sour chicken. It's like the sweet and sour neutralize each other. That's why in Coca-Cola that's why in Coca-Cola there's phosphoric acid, because the phosphoric acid is very tart and sour, or sweet and sour neutralize each other. And so the more sour they make it, the more sweet they can make it, and it neutralizes each other, and it doesn't really taste as sweet. So it might say, like, in your stuff, it might say like 50 grams of sugar, but really that's a lie. I was told that's actually a lie. It's twice as much, and they get away with it because the acid actually makes it undetectable. So when they test it and they send it in to have it tested, it'll say like, oh, this is 50 grams of sugar, but really there's a lot more in there. And like, it fools their test. So there's really twice as much in there. So when you eat that, it shuts your system down, and the healthiest person imaginable could go into diabetic shock immediately from drinking a pop. And so a lot of people I know, like, they've done that. They've drank a pop and then all of a sudden went into a coma, and then they woke up to be told that you became a diabetic. And so you can't sue Coca-Cola if they send you into diabetic coma, because they'll say it's a secondary reaction, your body couldn't handle it. If you took too much aspartame and your brain was eaten alive inside your head, you couldn't sue aspartame, because the aspartame itself is non-toxic. It's when your body breaks it down into different elements, and that's what kills it. So it's your body's natural ability to process it, and nobody can process aspartame. Nobody can, because as soon as you do, it breaks it down into deadly chemicals, which is wood alcohol, which builds in your brain, and formaldehyde. So you're eating formaldehyde. Or no, it might not exactly be formaldehyde. I think it is, but there's also another word that they use. Like toxic waste or something. They'll say it has toxic waste, which is anyways, it was on like Dr. Oz, and they had a woman on that said she was having some major problems and drank a lot of aspartame, and it turned out she had like fluid build up in her brain, and that was the aspartame. That's what it does. And so they had to give her regular alcohol to get it out, but it took them forever to figure that out. They first probably dug into her brain and sat there and was like, we're doctors, let's stir your brain around. How does that feel? I don't feel anything. No, we know you have nerve endings in your brain. How do you feel now? Oh, I feel great. I like aspartame. What's Cloward and Pliven? Okay, Barack Obama said on February 18th, 2010, or no, I don't know. Okay. I like it when I rub your head. You're such a thank you. How did I get such a good kid? How did I get such a good kid? I truly think everybody is a zombie. I think that they're plotting against me because the way they say is they're happy being zombies, and they don't like how I don't accept their zombie system, so they're just going to set me up to shut me up. And I notice how they do this to a lot of people, and how if you go up to any homeless person on the street, you'll probably get some kind of response like they didn't do everything they were told all the time, like they didn't give their money away, they didn't work for nothing, then give their money away for nothing, and then seek some kind of satisfaction, like some weird satisfaction of like getting off by having your life ruined and then ruining other people's lives, like, because they're very gratified and happy that they live in misery, and they like working, like they like working for nothing. Whatever reward that they get from it is very vile, disgusting, and something that a lot of people wouldn't take part in and find disgusting and not right. And so they're very corrupt. They're very, very corrupt, because whatever they're fighting for is for a very greedy cause that serves no other purpose but for the utmost greed and vile, despicable, just wicked, nasty grossness. I mean, contributing to a system that only wants to destroy you and rape you and ruin your life, and so they seek the benefit that they're the rapers, and they don't really get anything. I mean, they do get something, but what they get, I don't really understand. I think it's just their own corruption, their own gratification of being corrupt. They get off on being sneaky, greedy, dirty, fucked up little fucking bitches, little faggot, pussyfoot and fucking punk ass motherfucking bitches. And they fucking love that, dude. That's like they're fucking jerking themselves off, getting off on how fucking nasty and gross they are. And they're gonna ruin my life, and they're gonna ruin yours, and they're gonna feel much better about how sick and fucked up they are that they ruin your fucking life. And then try to say that's what you did to them. Because it just makes sense when you keep flipping things around and flipping it around and flipping it around and blaming the person and blaming this and blaming that and never accepting any responsibility. That's the whole fucking thing with the bystander effect bullshit, is these people are too brain dead to fucking accept the responsibility. In their head, they think they're fucking perfect, and they're far from it. They're a fucking lobotomized race of fucking zombie creatures. And they got me fucking trapped here. And they fucking censor me and shut me down and shut me up, and I can't imagine how much money they have to pay to do that. Fuck, I only pay $40 a month for a fucking internet bill. They have to fund a whole nation of TSA and NSA and fucking a whole television series of fucking mindless nonsense to fucking gaslight me, to just simply gaslight me and make me look crazy. And they're just constantly bombarding people with mindless nonsense conditioning, telling them over and over people like me are bad. Because I think about Flettner rotors, which is going to be hard to remember, which apparently the fucking Illuminati would be very fascinated about, the Magnus effect for using biological weapons. So that's all good, yeah. But no, they think about it, but they don't want you thinking about it. And their secret bunkers with their secret technology and their secret bio-bombs, it's the thinking about Flettner rotors is all okay. But if you just sit there and Google it or talk about it, you must be fucking crazy. And they dumb you down, and they're like, anybody that talks about Flettner rotors is a fucking conspiracy theorist. And you're like, what the fuck ever, dude, I don't give a shit. It's just you're the one that was talking about it, and I said, well, what is a Flettner rotor? And they're like, oh, we said too much. We shouldn't have said Flettner rotor. I never said there was a conspiracy with Flettner motors. You're the one that said Flettner motor, and I said, that sounds cool. I like technology. What is that? And oh, no, you don't want to know about that. That's our secret biological warfare weapon. No. And our secret sailboats that sail upwind without any gas whatsoever. You don't want to know about that. Our secret cloud seeding technology. You don't want to know about any of that. No, there's no conspiracy here. You're the one that said you cloud seed and you lose Flettner rotors and you have biological warfare weapons with aerodynamic dissemination. You're the one that said it. No. It takes an hour to look it up. No, it doesn't exist. No wonder nobody thinks it exists. But they can't help but telling you. It's like a slip up for them. They're like, how do we cloud seed it? How about we use our biological weapons to cloud seed? Yeah. Like, oh wow, where did you get the knowledge of a lot of this cloud seeding stuff here, people? You know, here.
Water, a lot of air, which then rises to the surface again as bubbles, and that's the white stuff that we see when waves break. And each one of those bubbles ejects hundreds or thousands of little droplets, which happen to be about the size that we need for our experiments. So we have to find a...
Yeah, sure, this is how they figure all this stuff out.
way of generating seawater droplets of the same size but in much greater quantities.
Scientists first began trying to manipulate clouds in 1946.
1946?
They found that by firing tiny particles of silver iodide into rain-bearing clouds...
Tiny particles of silver iodide. No. No, this is all conspiracy. No. But this is on, no, eagles are... Wind generators are killing eagles and we're cloud seeding. There's no conspiracy here. You just said you're cloud seeding. No, we're not cloud seeding. That's a conspiracy. We're cloud seeding. Yeah, that's what I said. Cloud seeding. No, that's not what we're doing. We're cloud seeding. Yeah, that's what I said. No, that's a conspiracy. Not that I even care. Because I'm more interested in all the technology involved in doing it. Or the strategy that they use. Like Cloward and Piven. That's why I watch Alex Jones.
Could induce rainfall. Stephen Salter has been working with clouds since the 1980s, but the challenge now for him and John Latham was to figure out how not to make it rain, but to increase cloud cover. Stephen Salter has designed a remarkable vessel. We've reproduced it here with computer graphics. It's designed to deliver the tiny droplets needed to boost the clouds. But it's a vessel that wouldn't produce any carbon emissions that are now thought highly likely to be worsening the very problem.
Oh, it wouldn't make any carbon emissions. Oh. Okay, and when was this shit invented? When sailboats were. Right before steam and everything else. Well, why didn't that take off? Because we're talking about steamboats. Like, people were probably really dumb back then. So if you're like, wow, we have this new thing, they're like, durr, I like steam, durr. Like, they were really fucking dumb back then. But now, like, what about now? What excuse do we have now? We're still really fucking dumb. Like, really fucking dumb.
These scientists want to solve.
I mean, like...
It's an extraordinary win.
I mean, like, people are like fucking zombies. Like, lobotomized, like, empty, just clone zombies, like, mindlessly just walking the planet, like, oh, just bumping into things, driving off cliffs. You live in an idiocracy. I hope you know that.
Powered yacht, but with one rather obvious difference to a normal sailing boat.
Now, no sails, but instead of that we've got these three rotors, 20 meters high, and they're going to spin, which gives you a thrust vastly more than a sail will do.
Oh. They spin and they vastly increase thrust more than that of a sail do. Let's hear that again. That just seemed like it went out one ear and out the other because I'm a brain dead. It's not entertaining. I'm not like, he just got kicked in the balls. No, it's actually like a mental stimulation, like a natural curiosity for intellect. Wow. Oh my God. Could you imagine if people actually used their fucking brains? No. No, I couldn't, actually.
Difference to a normal sailing boat.
Now, no...
Want to solve. It's an extraordinary wind-powered yacht, but with one rather obvious difference to a normal sailing boat.
Now, no sails, but instead of that we've got these three rotors, 20 meters high, and they're going to spin, which gives you a thrust vastly more than a sail will do.
Rotors or tubes. 30 feet high, just spinning. It's like a pole that spins. Like there's a pole, and then there's an outside pole, and then it spins on that. I mean, it's got like a little pole inside that holds it up, and then the outside pole that spins. And it's like if an eagle smacked into that, first of all, you couldn't blame the boat at that point. You'd be like, eagles are smacking into the pole on the boat. Like, they should be smart enough to steer out of a pole. Like, there's a pole, it's a big pole, I should steer around it. It's not like a blade that's coming around and you can't, you're like, oh shit, which way do I go? It's a pole. It's like, do eagles fly into cell phone towers? Probably not. Do eagles fly into trees? Probably not. Okay, we'll continue.
The Flettner rotor was originally invented by Anton Flettner.
Anton Flettner. Holy shit, they even go into detail. You know, maybe this guy isn't like a fucking bloody eye. Maybe he's bloody eye because he's looked at the zombies and he felt really sad and it broke his eyeballs. I could understand that.
A German engineer in the 1920s.
In the 1920s. So we have technology for boats to drive around without any carbon emissions. 10 times better than a sailboat. Sounds okay. I could sail around 10 times better than any sailboat. That sounds good to me. Upwind, downwind, sideways wind. Wow, sounds awesome. I'm sold. Where can I buy this boat? Nowhere. Maybe if I built one. Oh, luckily I like using my brain and building things. Maybe I could build one. Better not ask a creationalist that, because they'd be like, no, I'll just wish God to build me one. God, will you send me a Flettner rotor sailboat? I know you created all life. And all the cars and all the sailboats and all the tools. So just this once I want a Flettner rotor, so I don't pollute the environment. That would be great. Send that to me right away, God. Thanks. Amen. Wow, there's a Flettner rotor sitting in my living room. Thanks, God. Fuck, I guess I can't rely on God for that. I'm gonna have to just build one. But my brain hurts so bad to think about Flettner rotors. I'd rather just eat brains. My brain hurts. Oh, the eagles. Save the eagles. And you could just be like, you could save the eagles, you poor little zombie, if you just got a Flettner rotor. And they're like, whoa! What is a Flettner rotor? Well, it's this thing that would save the eagles. Oh, my brain hurts too bad. What would save the eagles mean? You just said you wanted to save the eagles, right? Yeah, save the eagles. Okay, well, don't you want to save the eagles? Okay, well, I have this idea to save the eagles. What's an idea? Like, goddamn, I don't think you can help these people. They're like lobotomized. They're fucked. Like, you live in an idiocracy. Fukushima's gonna boil the oceans. You're all fucked. Okay? Okay, you happy? You happy that you're brain dead and fucked? You know, everybody's gonna ride the fail ship of stupid. It's gonna be sinking. And they're all gonna be on the Titanic, and they're gonna be partying, slamming beers. Woo! Woo! Big fucking party, man! Big fucking party! And the economy and the world is just gonna crash right around them. Just like Rome burning. Everybody will be like at the Colosseum, like, yeah, gladiator fight, and fucking all of Rome will be burning down. And they'll be like, we lived in such a wonderful dystopia. Whatever happened? It's just on fire now. We don't what fire? I don't see any fire. Do you see any fire? No. Let's go party. All right. There's no fire. The road's not burning. I'm on fire. Drink some beer. The fire shots. Oh. It's like organized chaos. It's like the Illuminati are like dumping your pockets inside out, and like you're just turning into a zombie. And it's like organized chaos. Like you're too stupid to realize they're gutting you, and so they're gutting you, and you're like, yay, it's fun! This is like a dystopian paradise full of lemming zombies. I'm so happy. And the news is like, buy more shit today. Nothing happened. It's all good. Obamacare is going to be wonderful. Buy more shit. Buy more shit. And you're like, wow, today was a good day to buy more shit. I love not having money, but pretending like I do. I want an iPad. Look, Mommy, there's a Chinese guy's finger stuck in the iPad. There's no such thing as supply and demand. If I demand cheap-made, slave-made labor goods, that they'll have to whip slaves and make them, so I can feel better about my life, that it's not as bad as the slaves in China that we enslave to make us our good shit. My life is better because I suppress them through being compartmentalized by buying the shit, so I'm safe because I'm suppressing you. Yeah, perfect sense. No fucks were given on the day the zombies were alive.